And a new read on the economy this morning. The June CPI report showing overall prices are up 3.5% compared to last year. That's better than forecasters expected. Kevin Hassett, the White House National Economic Council Director, is joining us live from the White House this morning to talk all about it. Kevin, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
So 3.8% inflation expected, came in at 3.5%. You always like to see that number come in lower. Give us your top line thoughts. You happy with that number?
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely the best inflation report we've seen in about 6 years. If you abstract from energy, if you look at the core, it's all the way down year over year to 2.6%, which is just about where the Fed expects it to be. And it's not just energy prices going down. Like if you look at the micro stories, if you zoom in, then you see things like auto insurance costs are way down in part because law enforcement has picked up. There aren't so many people having their cars stolen and so on because of bringing order to the streets. We see food prices doing a great job. Tomato prices down 10%. Across the board, drug prices, the biggest decline in drug prices ever, all the way back to World War II because of President Trump's policies to make the America the most favored nation. And so it's sure energy prices have come down a lot, but everything else is going down too. And I think that's why, if you look at Bloomberg, they surveyed 67 economists, and 67 economists got it wrong because they didn't understand that it wasn't just about energy. It's about all these other things that President Trump is doing to cut costs.
Big thing Americans obviously care about are gas prices, especially during the summertime. If we can pull up this AAA chart showing gas prices. Right now, they're down from what they were about a month ago, but they're still significantly higher than they were this time 1 year ago. Obviously, the war in Iran is throwing a wrench into this. As long as that conflict is going on, should Americans expect these prices to just basically keep seesawing?
Well, I think that one of the ways you should think about it is that the oil prices were up almost at $150 a barrel at the peak of the conflict, and now they're low 80s today, and they were in the 60s and 70s just a week ago. So what happens is they take the oil, they move it to the refinery, and then they turn it into gasoline. So there's a whole bunch of gasoline deflation on the way. And even with the renewed conflict, if you look at what oil prices are today, they're about half of what they were in the peak during the hot times a few months ago. And the reason is that our Navy has made so much progress making it so that oil can get through the Straits. And so we get reports every day of what boats have made it through the Straits. And oil is getting to the global markets in a way that it wasn't before. And so I think that there'll be disruption, but the disruption is going to be much smaller than people expected, much smaller than 67 economists at Bloomberg expected. And that's because of the great work of President Trump and the U.S. Navy.
The administration has said they'd like to get gas prices down to about $3 a gallon. Is that still realistic? Is that the plan still?
It's absolutely realistic, and we were headed pretty much there on a straight line. But now there's a hiccup again because the Iranians, who again, like it's so obvious that this was the right policy, that the Iranians were dead set on destroying America. Death to America was one of the things they were saying every time they had a rally. And even at a somber event like a funeral, they were screaming and putting up signs, "Death to Trump." These are people very, very dangerous. President Trump wasn't going to let them have a nuclear weapon. And so in the long run, the world will be safer, gas prices will be lower, and it'll be worth the short-run cost.
Another topic I want to ask you about, regulators in the Trump administration are issuing some new guidance to banks, warning them that giving loans to illegal immigrants is potentially risky. Read this headline from the Wall Street Journal, says, quote,
Sure.
Trump regulators seek to discourage loans to undocumented immigrants. Quote, guidance from the nation's financial regulators urges banks to consider risks of offering loans to immigrants not authorized to work in the U.S. Kevin, this kind of seems like a no-brainer to me. Why would loans even be going to illegal immigrants in the first place?
Right. They should have been going there in the first place. And the bottom line is that if a bank is making lots of loans to people that might be deported because they have a criminal record or whatever, then obviously that person's probably not going to pay back the loan. And so we view this as a financial stability measure that makes a great deal of sense. And it's, I guess the interesting thing is that the regulators felt they had to issue that guidance, presumably because of something they discovered that was surprising.
Yeah. Got to leave it there. Kevin Hassett live at the White House this morning. Kevin, thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.